Hello everybody, welcome back to another video, and today we're going to talk more about variables. If you haven't seen my last video about variables, I'd really recommend you to watch it. It'll give you a brief summary of what they do. Anyway, what you can also do with variables is also store things that are already inside of these services. So like we have a part here, we can easily do local my part, and then to reference it, do game, okay, dot workspace dot my part. What this would do is put my part as my part. You can name this whatever you want, but here's the catch: you cannot add special characters such as this. Well, I mean, no, you can't do that. This, or yeah, you can add numbers, but this. You cannot add any sort of signs, only lettering, and underscores would be nice, I think. Do they even allow it? Yes. No spaces also, because if you do a space, it will give you a strict error. You may not see it, but it's there. So yeah, my part. What this basically does is basically do the same thing as my part. We can do the same thing as my part. Yeah, let's turn it black. It'll do the basics of this. Do the same thing. See, it does the same thing. Variables, you can variables. You don't have to always You don't have to always reference something. You can make your own things, count thing, whatever you're making, like you're saying a equation, or a certain UI, which we'll get into another video. That's basically what a variable can do. But yeah. So what can you use variables for? How much further can you use variables? Well, I'll tell you the do's you can use, or you can, with the variables. There's a couple different types of variables, such as _g, which is a global variable, and yeah. If you're doing a variable without the local, like you say variable, if I could spell, you can make variables with that, without the local, but I mean, like every other variable, you cannot do it outside of the script, which is basically by default what a variable does. So yeah, I guess since this was supposed to be a more on variables, I'll show you how to do other stuff. As what should I do next? Oh, I know. How to clone an object. So, if you want to clone an object, you can either make a variable of that object, and then you can do, or you can reference it without a variable. I'm gonna reference it without a variable, and I do both. Game.workspace. So, oops, wrong service. My part. Now, what an attachment? Oh, not attachment. So with parts, there's gonna be some cases you're gonna use this, which this logo right here with the 2 dots or colon is symbolizing other functions, remote functions it can do. So you got all these. I don't know if I will get all of these in like, I don't know if I'm doing a breakdown of these in the video, but I know what to do to clone. So you have this clone right here, right? You see clone? These, you see it's cloned, and then you see these. Those are what is for the remote function that goes together with the part, which is for instance my part. If you do a colon and then clone and another piece or pair of brackets, it's basically referencing my part and then the clone. So yeah, and then you can do dot name equals cloned part. Now there's different types of dots. When you're cloning, I really don't recommend doing dot and then whatever other thing you're doing, because it may or may not clone. I might be wrong, but that's my experience of cloning things. So if we clone it, it would be clone part. Let's see, did it change at all? Should clone. Well, that's what I mean. It doesn't show up because of the clone. So what we're gonna do is I think it's dot parent. I don't know, it's probably is dot parent. Oh, see, we already got an error. That's because I usually put my I'm sorry, I'm having a hard time speaking. But usually when you're cloning, my part is like, I always put in a variable, so that's why you always put some parts in variables. I don't suggest putting variables all the time though. So let's do local my part clone, and then my part dot parent equals. Now there's a shortcut for workspace. You can do game dot workspace, or you can write an all lowercase workspace. It doesn't matter which one, as long as you know which difference it makes, which has no difference. So it should be the same. So now, oh shoot. No. We forgot to name it. So let's say my part, my part dot name equals cloned part. Now, if you're making a cloned part and having the name with a space in it, you're going to have to do, I'll show you in the next, or a different video, sorry, on what it does. If you add a space inside of it, some certain part name, or whatever name, UI piece, doesn't matter. If you add a space, I'll show you what to do if you have a space in it. Because I had the trouble one time, no one showed me it until I realized it. So this will give you, the video I'm going to make is going to give you external information about it. So let's go ahead and run. We should see 2 parts. Yes. Well, I don't know if it actually cloned. It should clone. My part. Yeah, my part clone. Well, there might be something going on. Oh, yeah. Sorry. You might want to do that. When you're cloning a part, you might want to do that instead of having it separate. Because here's the thing. When you're cloning an object or whatever, your piece of UI or whatever, when you're cloning it without referencing the clone inside the variable, what it does is that once you, like, let's for instance, my part clone, this is an example, but when I do this, it will basically remove my part completely, which it didn't because there's no other part to replace it. So yeah, you kind of have to put clone inside with the variable. Oh, a lot of stuff to take in, I know, but you gotta do what you gotta do, you know. So you see that we have two parts now, and then a part is named clone part. Great! We got a clone part. So that's another way of having variables is you can use clone stuff. Blah blah blah. All right. I'll do one video about the players and the way you can do on players and stuff. But yeah, that's more on variables. But I'm gonna show you a little bit more because I don't want to leave you guys off at one thing. So what you can also do with variables, it's really useful. Like for instance, I'm just doing this for an example. You have a player. Oops. Typo. Game.players. Let's just that's an actual service, but we get to that next time. But we're gonna reference the player. Inside the player, we can also still get the same information about game.players. So basically a variable doesn't change that service or whatever unless you want it to. So yeah, so these are all the children. Oh yeah, children. That's what I want to do. So let's for instance, oh, that's not right. Workspace stop my part. So what children is, it's not literally children. It's half like children, but it's like, let's just say my part is a child of workspace. Workspace is a child of game. But workspace is the parent of child. My part. Game is the child of workspace. So you can do stuff like get children. What get children is doing is getting the children, which isn't. If you press the plus button, let's just say you have a decal, which is an image, it'll get that. It'll get that. Whatever is the child of a part or whatever. So that will give you guys a little hint. And then find first child is something similar like that, but it's demanding, like instead of waiting for it, it'll straight off the bat, the server will automatically try to find it off of that parent and then find that child. So yeah, I hope that gives you a better vision. I hope that gives you a better look at what you can do with variables and what you can do with other types of parts and stuff. Although I need to note, when you're making a part, you can also make a model. A model is not what it's almost like a model, like not like a let's just say a literal like model, but it is a model, but without the meshes and stuff. So like you cannot edit what's inside of model. I mean, yes you can, but you can't edit model itself. So like if I go right here, game.workspace.model, as you can see, we cannot change much. We cannot change what goes in it, what can't go in it. Or we can change what can go in it and what can't go in it, but we can't change the specifics. We can't get the position of the model. We can't get C-frame of a model, which we'll get into next time or next video or a different video. But yeah, basically. You can also reference the parent, which we already know what the parent is, which is workspace. But that's an easier way of doing it. So I'll show you on probably next video on parenting and children or something else. So yeah, I hope that really gave you guys a little bit of good help right there. Not too sure, but yeah, thanks for watching, and like if you really enjoy my series, Actually, do you guys want me to continue this series? Let me know in the comments below. And subscribe if you're new. And I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.